So I want to do a series on going through what I know to be a great coach, someone who's on level 1 staff, teaching something in real life, and then maybe unpacking a little bit of the things that I see as we go through it. We already know it's going to be good because this guy is good at what he does, but let's talk about it as we go through.
All right, we're going to start by going over the air squat. This is what we're looking for with the air squat. Let me show you from this side.
So first off, Todd's doing a good job of demonstrating. You don't need to necessarily demonstrate 2 times on all of these, but at the same time, it's not a bad thing because people have more vision of what's going on. What he does do a great job of is not talking as he goes through that demo.
Where I want you to begin is first, let's take our heels and put them underneath our shoulders. Keeping your toes right where they're at. I want you to bring your heels out. Good. Now open your toes just a touch more. Awesome.
So he used a way of getting someone a little bit wider. He said, I want you to put your heels under here. He was saying all the right things, but more importantly, he was looking. He was looking right at his feet and going, okay, here's where we want your feet to go. And then they weren't where he wanted them. So he said, why don't you bring your heels out and then bring your toes out? And he just as easily could have said, widen your stance, but that was a great way to do it and keep his feet in the same general positioning. So cool shot.
Now, this is where you're going to start and finish every single time. So real quick, just squeeze your belly, squeeze your quads, and squeeze your butt. That's start, that's finish every single time. Now, the first thing that we're worried about is going to be our hips going down and sitting to where...
So he threw a couple lines in there. Hey, we're going to start and finish in this spot each time. Squeeze your quads, squeeze your butt, squeeze your whatever. He could have had him do that once or twice if that was really important for him to feel that finished position. But in essence, since he's standing up already, he doesn't need to do that because he's already standing there. But it's a good thing to maybe do, like, hey, if you're going to mention squeeze your quads, squeeze your butt, squeeze your bleh, just make him do it. So that way you see that in and out as he goes from there.
Pockets get below our knees. This is what it looks like.
Pockets get below knees. That's interesting.
So I want you to think there's like a chair
like
behind you. You're going to sit back and get low enough to where the pockets in your shorts are lower than your knees, all right? Go ahead and squat. Yep, hold that bottom position for me. Nice, and stand back up.
So he's going over, he had a very single specific cue. It was pockets below your knees. Great. That's a specific thing to be looking for. It's not something that's like too ethereal and weird. It's like you've got pockets, put them below your knees. So I like it. Now, another important thing is he moved around to the side so you can see that he can see this kind of side-on view for it.
Push your butt back. Good, and stand. Same thing again, just a little bit more. I want your butt to sit back like that chair is behind you, all right? Go ahead and squat. There we go. Heck yeah, go ahead and stand. Awesome.
Okay, so he was just looking for one thing. So in this type of a progression, all you're doing is looking for that one thing, which is awesome. So he's just looking for, is his pockets going below his knee? Not, are the knees shifting forward, are the knees caving in, is the back rounding out? Just that one thing.
Now, the next thing we're gonna work on are our knees. What I want is your knees driving out the entire time you squat. So watch mine. Notice how
So what he's doing is he's layering now. So he's got that one, which is the pockets. Now he's got the knees. So pockets, then knees.
The whole way I'm going down, the knees are pressing out. The whole way I'm standing up, they're pressing out. I want you to think about creating as much space between your knees as you can. Now keep your toes right there. Yep. Nice. Hold that position for me. Push into my hand a little bit harder.
Now, something that's interesting, he said, keep your toes right there. And then right in that moment, the gentleman, whoever he was, he moved his foot. You actually, here, I'll show you. Let me rewind it just a little bit. Let's see if I can rewind it just a little bit. So he says, keep your toes right there, and watch his feet right after he says, keep your toes right there.
Toes right there. Yep. Nice.
See how he slowly moves them out just a little bit? Now, he was trying to find his heels again, but you watch him lift his toe and then move his foot a little bit. So we'll see if Tadeo catches it, or he might even just ignore that. I mean, he did say, keep your toes right there, but that's not the point he's going for. Right now he's going for the knees, and maybe in an effort to drive the knee out, the guy was thinking, okay, in order for me to drive my knees out, I'm going to move my toes a bit. Some people think that. It's not the case. We just actually want the active knee pushing out. For some people, they might need to shift their foot a little bit in order to make that happen, though.
Into my hand a little bit harder with your knees. Do the same thing on the other side. That's better. And stand. Nice. Same thing again.
Now his toes are staying there, and you can see he initiates his squat the same way each time. He has that like toe flick up. So it's a weird one, but as long as they don't keep moving out, we're okay. And this is not necessarily a bad position. It's more about where the knee is in relation to the toe.
And stand. Heck yeah. Now, keep your feet right there for me, but I want you to bring those heels back out just a touch again. Good. Now try to keep those things planted. This time, we're still working on our butt going back, knees going out, but I want you to feel your weight in your heels.
So now he's layering on those other points. So he basically says the knees out, the weight in the heel, or sorry, the pockets below, so the depth. And then he's like, okay, now we're going to focus on weight in the heel. So now he'll put an extra emphasis here. So he could have been ignoring that previously, and now he's going to look a little closer at it.
Me here.
It's that good example of layering.
As I squat, I'm able to wiggle my toes. See how my toes float just a little bit in my shoes?
Now you don't have to wiggle your toes in a squat. In fact, when we're actually squatting heavy loads, we want to have the full foot on the ground. Even when we're squatting non-heavy loads, we still want to have that full foot on the ground. But it's not wrong to use as a cue to make sure people are back in that heel, to use more of that posterior, to have them float their toes a couple times to feel what it feels like to be back there. And then if they're constantly floating their toes, then have them grab the ground a bit more.
Exact same thing, all right? Go ahead and squat. Nice. Put your knees out hard into my hand again. Good.
Nice.
Good
Goes
job
back to other points
stand.
performance. Make sure he gets
do that
those.
Same thing again. Nice. And stand. Do one more. Push that butt back a little bit more. Good. Knees out hard again. Yeah. And stand. Hell yeah. That's fantastic.
So he's hitting those previous points. He doesn't let them get away with knees caving. He doesn't let them get away with anything else. He keeps revisiting back to that, but he also is hammering home the exact point that he's going for, which is those toes coming up, which is for him back in the heels.
If you're a coach looking to get bite-sized daily tips on how to run better classes inside the affiliate, facilitated by some of the best coaches in the world inside of the CrossFit space, check out the knowledge. Everything that you're looking for is in there. How to run classes, how to correct athletes, how to know some of the conceptual things within inside of this whole CrossFit space. Check it out. Run better classes. Check out the knowledge.
Something that's interesting that this guy's doing is he's going down and then pressing out each time, rather than just keeping his knees out the entire time.
Now, last thing we're going to work on, and this is
as long as he's focusing on his good.
Once we start adding weight to this squat, is keeping our chest up. Notice here when I squat, I'm going to reach my hands over my head so my chest stays up. All right, that's what we're going to work on here. So everything's still...
So he's now layering on midline stability, but the way he does is he doesn't even talk about the spine. He just said what we're going to focus on is keeping our chest up. Now, this is definitely a way of doing it. I don't think it puts the emphasis on the tightness in the spine and the abs and whatnot. It makes it so people just focus on getting their chest up, but the effect is the same in the long run. The low back stays flat, and then the chest stays tall, so you can do things like an easier front rack or an easier overhead squat, whatever it might be. So the outcome's the same, but the emphasis is different, and this is cool. I mean, like, I might do it where I'd say, hey, what we want to do is really think about bracing the stomach and really pulling our hands to the sky, and that then keeps the back flat. You could even say we want to think about keeping the back flat and the core engaged, whatever it might be. He's saying chest up, which is the same thing, but just in a different set of words. And the outcome, more importantly, is the same, which is an upright torso and ideally a neutral spine.
Is the same, butt goes back, knees are going out, but I want your hands to stay above eye level the entire time.
I like how he also layers on, this is now the same, this is the same. So he's like, he's saying, make sure you remember these points, but now here's a new one as well. And if we keep doing that, we reiterate the importance of what we were previously doing, which is a big part of this.
All right, go ahead and reach them up over your head. Squeeze your belly down for me. Nice, go ahead and squat. Hold that position right there. Reach
This guy's
your hands
movement's already quite a bit better when he tries.
And then reach up towards my hand with your arms. There we go, and stand. Good.
And you can see how much more balanced he is too. He's not falling backwards into his heel. He's still got that, he's not like lifting his toes. He's got a good full foot on the ground.
This time, as you go down, don't touch my arm. Go ahead and squat.
So he's giving him a tactile
Stop right
cue.
there, push your knees out hard. That a boy, and stand. Same thing again, butt back to start with. Stop right there, press your knees out hard.
Yeah,
Push
so he's
coming
getting
down.
him now on those
Stop
knees.
right there, press your knees out hard. Nice, stand back up. Let's do this.
So now he's really like hammering home, like, okay, what's going on with these knees? He's going down, letting them cave, and then pushing him out. Like, what's the passivity there? I think passivity kind of came out weird there. But he's now hammering those home. He's got these other points, and now he's going to really dig in a little bit more and refine the movement. It was only a few reps to get here. Now, granted, this guy does move well to start off with, but he's also revisiting these points, and you can see how it plays out.
bring your feet in just a hair for me. I know we messed with it. A little bit farther out. That was a little too much in. Yeah, right there. And bring those toes in just a touch. Cool. Hands back up again. Belly's nice.
So Todd's now adjusting the stance to see if maybe that is what's going on with the knees. Maybe he was too wide, so every time he went down, it was like too much for him to drive out, and that might be something he saw from the front.
Don't touch my arm as you go down. Stop. Stand back up. I want your butt to go back to start with, all right? Good. Slow, slow. Stop right there. Push your knees out hard. Good. Keep coming down. Stop right there. Push your knees out hard. Nice. And stand.
I don't know.
Good. We're going to do a couple more just like this. Go ahead and squat. Stand back up for me. No, I stopped you. Knees went forward, all right? I want your butt back. There we go. Stop right there. Push your knees into my hand.
So what Todd was seeing was a knee-initiated squat. So rather than him sitting back into it and engaging hamstring a bit more, he was pushing the knees forward and going to his quad, which would then, a lot of the time, put him into his toes. We'll see. Like, this narrower stance looks a lot harder for him. Maybe it looks better from the front, but I don't know if it looks quite as good. He might be the type of person who has a very limited range he can be in. Some people can be super wide and look good and super narrow and look good. Some people have a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, and they look not as good. And there's a very slim margin for where they can squat. He might be one of those guys. We'll see if he changes it again.
Keep coming. Stop right there. Knees out hard. Look just straight ahead at that wall and reach those hands up again. There we go. I like that. Back and stand. See if we can do another one just like that. Nice and slow. Good job with your butt back. Stop right there. Push your knees out hard for me.
So every time he pushes his knees out, he's telling him, and it gets like another 3 inches.
This time we're going to go slow when I tell you to stop.
Now he's slowing him down to see if he can get that a little bit tighter.
Stop right there. Push out into my hand and reach your hands up a little bit more. Look straight ahead. Good. Keep coming down. Stop right there. Knees out hard and wiggle your toes a little bit. Good. Keep coming down. Stop right there. Knees out hard again. And reach your hands up, look straight ahead, nothing in the ground. There we go. Stand right back up. Good. This time, as slow as you can go down, we're just not going to stop. I see the switch.
So this is good. So this guy's a good mover, and he's defaulting to an old position of his, which is slightly caved in the knees, with his eyes looking down and not quite going exactly where we want. So he's stopping him in each one of these places, which is great. Is it working perfectly? No. But these reps are helping him rewire where he needs to go, which is fantastic. That's what we're going for. I love it.
All right. Hands back up. Nice and slow. Don't touch my arms. Stop right there. Push your knees out nice and hard.
Now he's letting him go all the way down.
And last one right here. Remember, butt back. Hold tight. Let's make sure.
So he just adjusted his stance on his own. So this is something that I was looking at as I probably would have, when he moved him narrower, it didn't change the angle of that knee, but what it did do is it made it so it was a little bit harder for him to maintain that flat back, and he looked like he was a little cramped down there. That was just how my eye perceived it from this kind of side-on view. Todd didn't quite have the same vision, so he didn't think the same thing, which is okay. He was still looking pretty good, but that looked like a little too tight for me. So the guy just naturally adjusted, if you watched his feet there. And let's see, Todd then caught that adjustment, and now he's going to see what the stance looks like in the bottom. So I'm going to watch it again.
See your feet moving around a little bit. Bring your toes in just a little bit. Good.
So
Hands back up.
He let him keep his heels where he moved them to. So let's watch this.
Good. But a little just as in your toe. Bring that a little bit around feet. We'll see your sure. Make. Remember.
Okay, so this is where this guy's starting.
Remember.
Watch him.
Back.
He adjusts his heels out. Adjust them in just a little bit.
Feet moving around a little bit. Bring your toes in just a little bit.
He's turning his toes in rather than changing the heel stance, so he's not going to move them narrower.
Good job. Stop. Knees out hard. Keep coming.
See him adjusting his toes. He wants to twist. So that to me, when someone wants to twist like that, they're either used to that splayed out squat, maybe their hip needs that range, maybe that's just where they're comfortable, or maybe they're too narrow in their overall position and they need to be slightly wider in the position. There's one of three things. There's probably other things that could be going on. For him, as he's driving his knees out, you see how his feet are lifting? We don't want the foot lifting. We don't want it might be a little lifted on an air squat, but once we start getting into heavier loads, that should be a full foot on the ground.
Good. Stop right there. Push those knees out and reach those hands up for me again. Heck yeah, I like that back position and stand. All right, that's our air squat. I need your back flat. I need your butt going back and down. I need your knees out over your toes, your hip crease below your knee, and your heels down. Nice job, dude.
Okay, all in all, of course, fantastic progression. By the end, this guy's moving pretty good. Is there stuff he could dig into more? Absolutely. And with this guy specifically, he'd probably want to mess around with slightly wider, slightly narrow, slightly wider, slightly narrow, and find that kind of like happy place. And then the other thing is this guy has a tendency to go a little soft in his knee drive out. So he's passive through that knee pushing out, and he could spend a few more reps here. All in all, though, the way he layered everything, the progression that he had going through it, it was all fantastic. He caught stuff and he caught vision. He saw where the guy was going and he made adjustments. Super good. One thing that he did do that was weird throughout the class is he kept looking at the clock, and it was really obvious. I don't know if he's just trying to keep this video in under time, but don't do that. So first, I love it. We got some more videos from Todd to go through, coaching this guy through a bunch of other stuff. So hell yeah. Good job, Toddy.
Thank you for watching, and if you found that helpful and you want more of this kind of content, we have literally hundreds of videos just like this, from practical tips and tricks to theory to everything in between, all in the knowledge. And if you want to learn from me directly and our cohort of level 4 staff members, then we also have the Knowledge Pro, which we do weekly calls and live interaction and homework and everything else in between. If you want any more information or would like to have a free trial of the knowledge, please click the link in the description below and get after it.